Hello folks, Rutherford here. The heater on my 95 Ranger truck was just barely working. I tried flushing the cooling system, I replaced the blend door. That's that little flap that mixes the hot and cold air to the cabin. The heater core seemed to be plugged, and I did not want to pull the entire dash to get to the heater core. So I installed an inline coolant filter, like I'd seen done on pickups in the past. The in to the filter coming out of the block, and then the filters out going to the heater core in. You don't have to even touch the return to the engine. It's in simple series, block, filter, heater core. I'm going to try to cover the basics of what and how I did this, and maybe even throw in a little levity to help break the monotony. And I'll show you later the results of how this method can clean up a system completely full of rust, like this used truck that I bought that had been somewhat neglected. Of course, we've got spared no expense. Old school flat handkerchief over a light for soft lighting. Okay, this is a bracket. Get a good shot of this hose, how it's kinked, and see this typical hydraulic spin-on filter head. And note, brand new radiator. The old one was leaking. I had to replace this one. Okay, that cleaned up a lot of stuff. Okay, after seeing this installation that I've done, you note the kinked hoses. I got a certain amount of choked off water supply, but results. I'd see, after a week or so of running, if I saw 110 degrees coming out of the heater vent, I knew it would climb right on up to 130, 140. I've only seen 150 degrees coming out of it one time, but okay, what is normal? In an auto application, you have a massive amount of flow to the heater core, way more than you really need. I have seen in an industrial application where you have metered water flow, I've seen a 50-degree differential between in and out, and you know that you're using the very minimum amount of water in that particular application and transferring the maximum amount of heat with that. Now, here I have a vacuum motor that is either on or off, digital. With my choked off hoses, I have limited float. Also, I've seen a 30-40 degree differential between these in and out hoses, and I've seen 150 degree on YouTube, Ranger heaters on YouTube coming out of the vents, and I'm going to replace these kinked hoses eventually. Found some springs that I can put in here. It's too tight a bend really, but yeah, it should probably be around long after I'm gone. The point is here, kink or no kinks, reduced flow or no, the system works, and it works fine because eventually enough rust was filtered out of my system that kept plugging up my heater core. Okay, this came right out of the reservoir, showing you the sediment in it. This right out of the radiator now. It's very pristine. If it was water, it would be potable, completely potable. Pristine, still slowly being filtered. Okay, so to recap, in the analog system I worked with in the factory, having a 50-degree differential was a great thing. It meant that the minimum of city water was going down the drain. In a heater core, zero differential is book spec. My system was full of rust. I bought an older truck. I get to this point, I install a coolant filter in a Ford pickup and see if a massive amount of rust was clogging up the heater core. Turns out it was, and that's a video that I could not find on YouTube. You can find about anything on there. So I install an off-the-shelf typical 11/16 thread screw-on filter head and a Wix 24070 coolant filter, one for gas engines, which had an orifice in it of about 30,000, 50,000, anyway. I had to open it, I had to modify it and open it up to a 1/2 inch because I want a 1/2 inch MPT pipe flow through the radiator, through the lines and everything. Okay, this is the vacuum controller. This is digital. It's either the vacuum motor controls it, and it is either on or off. Let's see if I can get you, yeah, a little better view of it. Hoses going into the firewall. I have seen $40 or $50 differential here at times with this, which in this situation seems to be okay. Let's see if we can screw on filter head. Yeah, typical screw on filter. Okay, after having viewed the chemicals after being passed through the coolant filter, world of difference between all the sediment and the dirty one, the stuff that's in my reservoir now that is gradually being processed, and what coming directly out of the radiator. What's coming out of the radiator, out of the system now is just totally pristine. I've left it in because people have told me that the water pumps on these systems get just totally clogged up, totally filled with sludge and stuff, and hopefully that will be eradicated, filtered out eventually. So I've demonstrated a simple old school way to clean up a system, a really bad system, one way beyond the capabilities of most radiator flushes or anything like that. And there isn't a video like this on YouTube that I could see anywhere. Is the only reason I went to all this trouble. So, Brother Boog here, signing off. If you'd like to see more like this, let me know. And we had a real lighting problem here, obviously. So, you know, the glasses and everything, but it will work. It works, and it doesn't heat up quite as fast as brand new, but the thing of it is it works. Okay, I'm going to throw in this little tip just as an added extra. Bulbs on grinders, a lot of vibration, it's hard to keep it bulb. CFL, no filaments, nothing to shake and vibrate and break physically like a superheated platinum filament. Theoretically, this should last 100,000 hours or so, whatever the life of the CFL is, which should be quite a bit. This one's got buku hours on it. It's still going strong.